Welcome to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's talk show. Now here's your host, Wilmot Mutty Perkins.
Hey everybody, morning and welcome once again to Perkins Online. Heartiest greetings also to the Pubic Sector Reform Unit in the Cabinet Office. I didn't know that there was such an entity, but I have since discovered it. The Pubic Sector Reform Unit in the Cabinet Office. Anyway, we'll have to come back to the Pubic Sector Reform Unit. The big story over the weekend, I think, was carried yesterday morning in the Gleaner. The headline told us that it was not murder. The British police, who were asked to examine some specimens taken from Mr. Wilmer's body, have reported, apparently, according to the Gleaner story, and I gather that there is a London newspaper who is quoting some police person in Jamaica as saying the same thing, that the British forensic experts are saying that Mr. Wilmer didn't die of manual strangulation, as the investigative authorities in Jamaica are reporting. They are saying that he died of heart failure or a heart attack. Look, this is a serious matter. One shouldn't be laughing at it. It is very sad. You know, Mr. Wilmer is dead. His family is in pain. But in addition to that, of course, the Jamaican investigative authorities must by now be the laughingstock of the world. I'm sure all over the world people are laughing at the manifest incompetence of the Jamaican, as I say, investigative authorities, the police, the pathologists, and so on. First of all, when this thing happened, a post-mortem was done. And we were told by Mr. Shields that the results of the post-mortem were inconclusive. Inconclusive. Press conference was called by Mr. Shields, who seems to have a passion for press conferences. He loves, the arena of publicity. And he called the press conference, told the press, and the international press was out here, and they were there at the press conference, and they were told that the results of the of the post-mortem were inconclusive. And then, within a matter of hours, on the very same day, I think, he called another press conference. And then the results of the very same post-mortem that had been inconclusive now became suspicious. And the following day, there was another press conference. And at this press conference, the results of the same post-mortem that had been inconclusive suddenly provided evidence of murder. The man had been a victim of manual strangulation. Manual strangulation. And then we started to hear, contradictory arguments about the symptoms. How is it that the obvious symptoms of manual strangulation, which we were told by several professionals in the field, that manual strangulation or strangulation would leave certain symptoms plainly visible on the face of a man of Mr. Wilmer's complexion. Because one of the things that happens when a person is strangled is that the small blood vessels tend to burst, and therefore one would see all over the face blood spots, where the blood seeps out of the vein under the skin. And in a man of Mr. Wilmer's complexion, these spots would be unmistakable. So the question was, how is it that the pathologist would have looked at a man, at Mr. Wilmer, and not seen this evidence of strangulation right from the very start, even before the post-mortem was done? And then we started hearing about the likelihood of poisoning. And some strange poison coming from the Far East, that Mr. Wilmer had succumbed to this. And then we're hearing yesterday, or seeing in the Gleaner yesterday, that the British authorities, the British police investigative authorities, who were asked to join in this investigation. And I tell you something, they were not only asked to look at some evidence, apparently, not only at material that we in Jamaica had not been able to deal with. Apparently, well, let me read from the story in the Gleaner this morning. A couple of paragraphs. In the meantime, Angel, this is the information officer of the police force. Angel said the JCF is considering an extensive and thoroughly professional investigation. An extensive and thoroughly professional investigation. They're not considering this. Reminds me of Dr. Omar Davis. Anyway, investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death. Mr. Angel is now saying that the Jamaica Constabulary Force is considering an extensive and thoroughly professional, and those two last words are in inverted commas, thoroughly professional investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death. So what have they been doing all this time? And this is now inverted. Hold on, I'm being asked to take a break.
Workers in the light and power industry, the JPS Employees Co-op Credit Union is you and your family's best bet for attractive loans and investment options. The time by the JPS Employees Co-op Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
10:15.
this Labor Day. Paint with Berger. Paint with love. Beautify and add color to concrete walls with Berger 303, Everglow or Magic Coat. And for grills and doors, use Berger 404. Painting roadways and pedestrian crossings? Then use Berger Road Marking Paint. Available in white, yellow and blue for parking spots for the disabled. Remember, surface preparation is key. Get rid of fungus and algae with Berger Biocidal Solution. Treat flaking, peeling and chalking services with Berger Alkali Sealer. Need advice on your paint project? Call Berger at 1-888-4-BERGER or 322-1105 on Labor Day itself for free technical advice.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award, on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. And look here, I have an apology to make. I misread this thing. It's, Mr. Angel did not say that the JCF is considering. He said it is conducting. It is conducting an extensive and thoroughly professional investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death. Well, that is what one would have expected. And then he goes on, this in inverted commas, this has included a request to the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Service in London to conduct a review of the investigation, he said. A review. The review included an independent verification of the pathology and toxicology analyses that had been conducted in Jamaica. So now, are these the people who are doing this, who have come up with the conclusion, or according to the Gleaner's report? Is this, first question, is that report correct? Have the police, Scotland Yard people or Metropolitan Police people in London come to the conclusion that Mr. Wilmer was not murdered, that he died of a heart attack or some heart failure? If that is so, well, it seems to me that already you know, our investigative processes in Jamaica are beginning to look quite ridiculous. First of all, we find that the man is found dead. And we clearly do not have the capacity adequately to investigate this matter. We have to ask the help of the British police, the Metropolitan Police in London. Then let me ask you something. What happens when a little man down in some inner city area, or for that matter some man or some person anywhere else in the country, is found murdered or is found dead in suspicious circumstances? If we haven't got the capacity here in Jamaica to investigate Wilmer's death and come up with a reliable conclusion, or at any rate an intelligent conclusion, what is happening to all the other murders that are being committed in Jamaica? Do we have the capacity to investigate them and to come up with adequate results? I mean, people all over the world must be reveling in mockery. And how good can this possibly be for Jamaica? And then, you know, we, I suppose, accepted that there were some serious inadequacies in our policing methods and strategies and whatever. And so we sent abroad and invited here a number of British police officers. And they were supposed to come here to improve the quality of our policing. Now, let me make it clear that, well, I don't know. What has been the result of this? They've been here some couple of years now. Have we seen in that time any improvement in the quality of our policing? I'm not offering an answer to that question, but it seems to me that, you know, we need to look into that issue. And what is Mr. Shields and his companion officer doing traveling off to South Africa? How is that contributing to the investigation? A good time is being had by all. Oh boy, for us. Anyway, one looks forward to having a conclusion to this matter, but on the you know, really, I don't know how long it is going to take for any kind of conclusion to emerge that is going to be credible. They seem to be all over the place. The other story, another story over the weekend, was came from Mr. Odley Shaw, talking about the this Japanese firm, Marubeni, that is supposed to be buying into the oil. Not supposed to be, apparently. That has been concluded. They're buying into the Jamaica Public Service Company, the Mirant shares. Mirant came in, made what it wanted to make, bought itself out of bankruptcy, or paid its way out of bankruptcy, and is now ready to give up Jamaica, and Maribeni is replacing it. And then we start hearing stories about Maribeni. They had some problems at home in Japan, failure to pay their taxes. And then we're hearing another story about the Singapore government refusing them entry into Singapore to conduct business there. I gather it is all over the internet. Very interesting matter, you know. Why do we have to bring companies, well, with tainted reputations into Jamaica to take over an organization like the Jamaica Public Service Company, which is not a competitive business. It is the one supplier of electricity in Jamaica. Has a monopoly. Mirant had some notorious problems in California, went into bankruptcy, and then came to Jamaica. And now we are hearing similar stories. Are these stories true? It is very important to the people of Jamaica to get all the information that we can, isn't it? And the government doesn't seem to be being particularly helpful in this matter. We're hoping to have Mr. Shaw in a few minutes' time. And, maybe we can get some clarification of it. The pubic sector. The pubic sector. That conference that was held downtown last week, well, I don't know whether it's still going on, the National Justice Summit was held at the Jamaica Justice System Reform. And then now, well, on the program, a nicely printed program, there is a Jamaica emblem, the Jamaican emblem. And under that is Pubic Sector Reform Unit, PUBIC. Cabinet Office. Pubic Sector Reform Unit. Imagine that. And this is the program that is handed out to, all the persons attending the conference, including visitors from abroad. The diplomatic members of the diplomatic service here in Jamaica, they must have found this very funny. Couldn't they have had somebody go over these things to make sure that what was written there was correct? Anyway, it's all in keeping with what is going on in the world. Jamaica is Jamaica is becoming a laughing stock. We take a break. We come back shortly.
Ideal Finance Corporation, 17 Ripon Road, Kingston 5, offers competitive interest rates on your investments and attractive foreign exchange rates. Call 960-639024. The time by Ideal Finance Corporation is
10:30.
With Home and Things, liven up your space. With Home and Things, tiles, baths, and pretty things. That's where we specialize. Home and Things, beautiful accessories to thrill your eyes.
Home and Things, a wonderland of beautiful things for the home at rock bottom prices. So, for a home that really sings,
Home and Things,
beautiful things, beautiful prices.
Hey, Red! Rodeo is a-coming.
Rodeo. The premium energy drink. Distributed by Brosco Distributors Limited, 17.5 Q Road. Telephone 908-1211.
Welcome, Rodeo Energy Drink. Available island-wide.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. We have with us Mr. Odley Shaw, the opposition spokesman on finance. Hello, Mr. Shaw.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I gather you can't stay too long with us.
Well, you wouldn't want me to...
Are you attending the pubic sector reform?
Well...
Eh? Hello?
Oh, Mutty. So when is that, anyway?
What?
When is that meeting?
The pubic sector. Oh, it started last week.
Okay.
The one at which the Prime Minister was an hour late.
Oh, I see.
I have a copy of the program here. It says it was apparently put out by the pubic sector reform unit in the Prime Minister in the Cabinet Office. You know.
I see.
Pubic sector reform.
No comment on that reform.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I didn't know there was a pubic sector reform unit in the Cabinet Office.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's a typographical error there, Mutty.
You think it is?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
But you know, the fact is, however, that the public sector reform unit that I'm aware of, I mean, they've been, you know, we've been hearing about the reform of the public sector now for the past 10 or 15 years.
Yes, indeed.
They've spent quite a bit of money. And as far as I'm concerned, it is questionable how much more efficient the public sector has gotten as a result.
Well, maybe I suppose they've decided in frustration.
Pardon me?
I say maybe they have decided in frustration to focus on the pubic sector instead.
As far as I'm concerned, over the period of that reform, the public sector has gotten larger, has gotten more inefficient.
Yes.
And less responsive to the public.
Consuming more and more resources.
And consuming more and more resources.
Without adequate returns.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mr. Shaw, I heard you on the radio or television, one of them. A clip talking about this Japanese firm and saying that they had been excluded from business in Singapore?
Well, you know, Mutty, yes, of course, and so let me read the specific thing to you so that you know.
Would you speak up a bit for me, Mr. Shaw?
Yes, I'm speaking up. Let me just read from at least one document from the internet, right? It says this is coming from a website called Cry Freedom. And a section called A Real Rogues Gallery.
Yes.
And it says, in 1995...
What is that? Cry Freedom?
Cry Freedom. Cry. C-R-Y. Cry Freedom. And the section is called A Real Rogues Gallery.
Yes.
And it says, in 1995, a senior Public Utilities Board, PUB, official was given the maximum 14 years jail sentence and ordered to forfeit US $9.8 million received as bribes in Singapore's biggest corruption case.
When was this? 1994?
Pardon me?
94?
1995.
95.
Incidentally, another section under Transparency International refers the amount to be $13.5 million US dollars. So it's somewhere between 9.8 and 13.5 million US dollars. The sentence is the longest, and the kickbacks accepted by Choi Hon Tim from local and foreign contractors over a period of 18 years, a record high, judging from past corruption cases.
Yes.
Choi, the former deputy CEO of the PUB, received the money through former PUB clerk Lee Peng Shong, who had been an Australian citizen since 1983.
Yeah.
Lee, who was a consultant to PUB, paid the money for pre-received, this is the key now, paid the money for pre-received information on the PUB tenders. The scandal resulted in the barring for 5 years 5 well-known contractors implicated in the bribery. Britain's BICC, Siemens, Pirelli, and Japan's Marubeni Corporation, and Tomen Corporation. And another insert indicated that they barred them, that in one of the companies, BICC, was appealing, but the government of Singapore said appealing cases involving corruption is normally not allowed in Singapore. And the ban stretched from January 27, 1996 to January 26, 2001.
Yes.
So it's there in black and white. And I thought that coming out of the Trafigura experience in Jamaica,
yes,
and happening as it is now, where there has been less than full transparency in relation to the sale of the JPS to Marubeni Corporation, I thought it was absolutely important that we place the question before the finance minister and the entire government,
yes,
to let us know whether they in fact had done any due diligence on Marubeni, and whether this history in relation certainly to the government of Singapore, whether in fact they were aware of that, and whether they sought in fact to seek any clarification from Marubeni, whether in fact this would impact at all on their own perception as whether Marubeni was fit and
I was
proper.
about to ask you, what difference do you think it would make? Because they surely were aware of Miran's problems in California.
Precisely. And the other thing is, Mutty, the government has developed a sort of a clear pattern of dealing with companies that have a certain reputation. You will recall that some years ago when they were getting involved with the French company, what you call the Bouygues, or whatever is the pronunciation. Bouygues at that time had also had several bribery and corruption cases in which the French government had them in court.
I have heard of this.
Yes. Right? So you have that, and they continue now to be getting contracts on the basis of sole source and not on the basis of competitive bidding in Jamaica right now. Even the North Coast Highway, the connection between the South Coast and the North Coast, the segment that is to start at Yorton and to cut out Mount Rossa. That has been given to that company on the basis of sole sourcing. It has not been put out to competitive bidding.
I hope I don't hear you saying that birds of a feather flock together, Mr. Shaw.
Well, I am putting out the information, and the public can draw any conclusion they wish to draw on these matters.
Well, it's very important that the public get any such information.
Well, absolutely.
In all the circumstances,
But then, Mutty, if we see that a company, an international company, has a propensity for bribery and corruption, and we see that the Jamaican government has had a propensity for corruption and corrupt practices, then wouldn't the logical conclusion be that birds of a feather do flock together?
Well,
I'm putting it to you now.
Well, Mr. Shaw, I would be very unhappy about coming to such conclusion.
Well, yes, it's a very serious matter, Mutty. It's a very, very serious matter because, remember, this is coming now on the heels of the Trafigura situation, which even as we speak has not been adequately cleared up in the minds of the Jamaican people.
Yes.
Because that one happened in circumstances that gave you a very clear impression of an inappropriate contribution that was being made at a time when a government agency was involved in negotiating a new contract with the company in relation to the lifting of oil.
Yes. And
even in relation to the Nigerian oil arrangements, there are still more questions than answers in relation to just who is benefiting,
Mr. Shaw,
who is getting what out of this Nigerian oil deal.
Am I right in saying that the concession given by Nigeria was somewhere in the region of $5 a barrel?
Yes.
No.
And how in God's earth we can have a situation where the concession is $5? In other words, the concession is $5 less than what the world market price for that
barrel of oil would be.
That sweet crude, which is a highly preferred crude.
Yes.
Right? We are getting it at $5 less than the price, market price. And you are going to tell that Trafigura, out of that $5, Trafigura takes for costs and profits $4.88 out
no,
of the
Mr.
$5.
Shaw. No, that doesn't make sense.
And all we get out of it is 12 cents?
No, Mr. Shaw, that doesn't make sense.
It can't make sense.
No, because Trafigura trades independently in Nigerian crude. Am I right?
Yeah, well, yes, I think so.
And so do other traders.
Yes.
And when they buy Nigerian crude, they're buying it at the regular price.
Yes.
And selling it on the world market and making a profit, which makes it worth their while to continue the trade.
Yes.
Now, in addition then to that profit, Trafigura would be making $4 and
88 cents.
And 88 cents.
Yes.
Right?
So the question is, if we are courageous enough to ask it, right? Is that $4.88 additional that Trafigura is making? Is that money that is just gone to Trafigura in a legitimate expense, which is questionable, because
that could not be
Clive
so,
Mullings has asked for a proper audit, and the government and the Petrojam are backing off of, PCJ are backing off of that audit.
Oh, is that
it's
so?
not necessary. Okay? We are insisting that it is necessary because, as you said, if they buy the fuel at the regular market price and they trade it, they are making money on that trade.
Yes.
Now they get it not at the regular market price, but $5 less.
Yes.
But you can safely assume that they will sell it at the same market price that they would normally buy and sell.
But hold on, Mr. Shaw. Look at it from the other point of view. Why would the government of Jamaica be prepared to allow Trafigura to get, in addition to the profit that they would normally make
on a normal trade,
an additional $4.88 a barrel? Hold on just a moment, please.
I love Easy Flow liquid spray starch. The iron doesn't stick to my clothes. Trust me, no build-up. It's wrinkle-free, non-flaky, and it leaves my clothes looking neat and smooth. Easy Flow liquid spray starch, distributed by Barker Caribbean Limited, 1 Weymouth Close, 933-9880. The time by Barker Caribbean Limited is
10:45.
Father Bull, Zebo, and Capital T present the birthday bash of the year, all day, all night at Mile Gully Square, Manchester. Saturday, May 19, Unitex Sounds and High Grade Disco with DJ Talia from Irie. You got to be there. Mile Gully Square, Saturday, May 19, all day, all night.
Keep screwworms at bay. Check your animals every day.
The National Screwworm Eradication Program, NSEP, is in the process of eradicating the screwworm from Jamaica, but we need your help. Animal owners, you must check your animals for wounds every day. You should also treat any wounds you find with the free wound powder distributed by the NSEP. For information, please contact the National Screwworm Eradication Program at 977-7554 or 977-2489.
Today's weather brief is brought to you by Suddenly Slender Jamaica Limited. Doctors say 65% of us are overweight. Get help now.
Do you have fat thighs or calves, flabby arms, double chin or crow's feet, baby tummy that won't budge or unsightly cellulite? Well, visit Suddenly Slender and experience the magic of mineral body wraps. Would you like to be slimmer? Lose 6 to 30 inches? Suddenly Slender. Shops 14 and 15 Hilton Kingston, 920-1139 or 997-1909.
Now for today's weather brief. There is a surface trough across the island. On the local weather scene, today will be mostly cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms mainly over northern parishes. Tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to fair. Tomorrow expect scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Wednesday and Thursday look for mostly cloudy skies with scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms. The information for today's weather brief was supplied by the National Meteorological Service of Jamaica.
Today's weather brief was brought to you by Suddenly Slender Jamaica Limited. Feel better, look better, improve your health. Call 920-1139.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here with you, Mr. Shaw.
Yes, so we are now down to the brass tacks, right? $4.88 U.S. per barrel. Where is that money gone? Are we expected to believe that is just raw profit into the hands of Trafigura?
But that would mean, Mr. Shaw, that the benefits of the concession, a concession made by the government of Nigeria to Jamaica.
For the benefit of Jamaica.
Of Jamaica. Yes. That concession would be going to Trafigura.
That concession is going to Trafigura.
Well, hold on a bit. That is what it would mean. But is that the truth?
Is this an inappropriate, illegal diversion of the benefits that should come to the people of Jamaica? That is being diverted in other directions via Trafigura.
I'm going into other pockets.
And going into other pockets. Being shared up somewhere.
That is the question that I think. That is the question that needs to be answered.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it is in that context of so many questions that must be answered about Trafigura, right, that here we now have another company that is about to buy out the JPS. The same time that they're buying out JPS, we are being told of yet another round of increases of electricity charges on the backs of the of the consumers of this country, right? And here we are, we have a situation where the company has a track record of bribery and corruption. What are we to believe? And against the background of this, Mr. Omar Davis has the audacity to be suggesting that we must be careful what we say. Because they are having their discussions with these new people, and we must be careful what we say. lest we drive away private sector.
I think we should be asking the questions now and hoping to get the answers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Mr. Davis needs to tell the country whether he was aware of this background in relation to the strong action that the government of Singapore took. They were caught bribing a public official. And they were banned from doing any business with the country for at least 5 years.
Let me ask you another question.
Is he aware of this, and did he contact the government of Singapore to find out whether, in fact, the ban is still in existence? Was it renewed? Are they now doing business with the government of Singapore? What kind of due diligence has Mr. Omar Davis found it necessary to carry out in relation to this very serious matter?
You know, Mr. Shaw.
And Mutty, hold on. Mutty, let's think about this one more minute here now. You know who the Public Utilities Board is?
No.
The equivalent of them in Jamaica is the Office of Utilities Regulation.
Yes. Yes.
And let me remind you that Mr. Clive Mullings pointed out in his parliamentary presentation, he pointed out that in the prospectus that was issued by Mirant for the sale of the JPS abroad, Mirant noted that they had a close working relationship with the OUR.
Oh.
Now, having regard to the track record of Marubeni.
That's one of the assets Mirant is selling.
Right. And having regard now to this track record that we are learning here now of Marubeni, that Mirant says we have a close working relationship with the OUR.
Boy, their ears would be pricked up.
Now, Marubeni has had, as we have seen, close working relationships with the Public Utilities Board in Singapore. What implication does this have now for their relationship with the OUR and their ability to slap on any
their
charges
expected
anywhere
relationship
they feel like in any corner and in any quarter? And
yes.
We have said, Mutty, that the energy policy of the country is of fundamental importance to the reordering and the restructuring of the Jamaican economy. But
yes.
It will not happen if we're going to have companies that come and use the JPS as a cash cow and tack on the charges on us every month, every other month, every quarter, additional increases, which will make us totally uncompetitive in terms of industrial capacity
yes.
in Jamaica.
Mr. Shaw, have you worked out, assuming the $4.88 in the Trafigura thing, what that would mean per year in the period that Trafigura has been handling this?
It needs to be worked out. It needs to be worked out. Because, in fact, I'm going to just get the numbers together and work it out and multiply the total oil lift over the period since it restarted in 1992. We need to multiply that by $4.88.
Yes. Because Trafigura is making a profit out of the transaction. Without that, now why should Trafigura
without that, so it is therefore arguable that the $4.88 is pure profit.
Yes. That that $5 should be coming to Jamaica.
Precisely, right? And what we found, what we caught them doing now, is sending some money to the People's National Party, right? But the question is, how much money was sent to the PNP over the years?
Thank you very much. That's
how much money has been
an important question.
Yes, how much money has been sent to the PNP over the years?
Yes.
And how much money might have been
sent
to
an obvious
other
question.
Parties over the years?
An inescapable question.
Absolutely.
And the thing about this Trafigura thing has been the focusing on the $31 million.
Yes, which incidentally, Mr. Bobby Pickles Gill appropriate, he referred to it as monkey money.
Yes, indeed.
You remember?
Yes.
So he must know why he call it monkey money, because $4.88 US per barrel is certainly not monkey money.
Yes, that's quite true.
Okay?
How many barrels a year do they handle?
No, well, I don't want to, I think there were different figures being...
Okay, can we...
One was 7,000, I'd heard at one time.
7,000 barrels?
Yes.
So that's 7,000 times $4.88?
Mm-hmm. But it went up. That was a low.
But even
listen, Mutty, I have to get to this information because I mean, you see, when Mr. Buchanan tells us Trafigura is dead, Trafigura is not dead at all. Trafigura is not dead, and their willingness to get into bed with companies of dubious reputation is a timely reminder to all of us that Trafigura is not dead.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I hear questions being asked about the financing of free education.
Yes.
Maybe this will go some way to answering that question.
Well, Mutty, the government has a very flippant attitude towards financing of projects. But if this country were run properly, you cut out the waste, you cut out the corruption, you bring down the cost of energy so that you can help to drive investment, bring down the cost of money, interest rates, so you can drive investment, and you create jobs and people are earning. I tell you something.
And create order in the society,
sir.
That
we can do in this country from our capacity to earn our way.
Yes.
Rather than trying to borrow our way.
Before you go, Mr. Shaw, one thing. Yes. There's an issue about $100 million that was paid supposedly paid to the post office authorities here in Jamaica by the United States authorities. The check, we are told by the Americans, has been processed, right? But the post office here doesn't know what happened to the money, according to the reports that we have had there. I think it's the Auditor General's report. You know anything about that?
No. 100 million US dollars?
100,000 US dollars.
Oh, okay.
100,000
That sounded like
US
a lot of money to me a while ago. Yes, 100,000 US dollars that was due to be paid
to the post office here, the postal authorities here.
Yes.
By those in the United States. The Americans say this was supposed to have been done in, I think, 2001, if I'm not mistaken. but the check cannot be found here, although the Americans are saying that it was processed.
Well, then it ought to be simple enough, Mutty. And I'll read the report. I'll try to familiarize myself with it.
Yes.
But wouldn't the Americans have the check? Wouldn't it have come?
That's my understanding. Yes,
they
do.
Have the check.
Yes.
They ought to then furnish that. We ought to. The Auditor General, it seems to me, ought to seek to get at least maybe a copy of that check to see how it was processed. Who processed it? Who signed it? Which bank it went to?
Uh-huh.
So I don't see that one is so difficult to resolve.
Well,
but it must be resolved.
Scientific, right?
Mr.
When Einstein says,
yes, sir.
E equals mc squared, right? That can be examined by other competent scientists, and they can establish whether or not it is true. And the truth of it can be demonstrated, or the falsity of it can be equally demonstrated, right? That is what a scientific statement is. Now, the poll results cannot be so examined. If two of us do a poll on the same day, and we come up with different results, how are you going to know which one is right? Right?
Mr. Perkins.
Yes?
When you hold deer on the road, now, Mr. Perkins, you don't need a poll to tell you that the wind of change is blowing as Miss
Look, sir, that may or may not be so.
Yeah, you understand?
But hold on. We're dealing in opinion here.
Yes, sir.
But if the poll results tells you, if people feel a certain way, and the poll result is telling you that they're going to vote differently, right? Then one of the possible effects of that is to diminish the enthusiasm of people. Let us say that there are some people, maybe large numbers of people, saying that, boy, we need a change, right? But the polls tell them that there is no possibility of change because this party or that party is miles ahead, right? Well, some of them are going to say, well, boy, it's no use going out to vote.
But let me ask
Not making any difference.
Forget
right?
the poll. You yourself, Mr. Perkins, now pick up on the ground that the changes is coming.
That what?
No, you yourself, by moving around, don't pick up on the ground that changes is on its way, Mr. Perkins.
I don't know, sir. What I think is, again, not scientific in terms of...
we know that.
If I meet a dozen people, and every one of them tells me that they going to vote for the JLP, that tells me nothing. Because there may be 10 dozen people that I have not met who are going to vote the other way. Right? And even when people tell you that they're going to vote this way or that, it doesn't follow that is the way they're going to vote. Right? But the point that I'm making, if you have a systematic means of making people believe that this party or that party is in and there is no hope of the other one winning.
Yes.
Well, the people who support the other one are going to be depressed by this, and they're going to feel that, well, it's no use making the effort.
We understand the point you are making, Mr. Perkins, but if you out here on the road, Mr. Perkins, and moving to and from, talking to people and so, you don't need any glasses, Mr. Perkins, and that's the reason why.
And you know what I find interesting? I've been raising this point for some time.
Yes, sir.
Right? My colleagues in the media.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. Maybe they don't hear it.
Yes.
Maybe they hear it and haven't got an answer for it. But they don't take up the issue. It seems to me that this is a profoundly important issue for Jamaican democracy. Right? But I don't hear anybody taking it up and discussing it and saying, well, Perkins is talking damn nonsense. Or that, yes, there is some truth in this.
You know, as you mentioned the media, it brings me up something Peter Phillips said yesterday, last week.
Yes.
When him accusing the media of hiding the performance of the government over the years from the Jamaican people. You remember hearing that, Mr. Perkins?
Yes. I don't know, sir. He must be talking about a different media. Because the number of times I've seen in the media how the economy is on the verge of a takeoff. And all kinds of wonderful things are happening and so on. Right?
But, Mr. Perkins, it just will tell you, that when the people elect a representative to represent them, and the poll is telling you that majority of the people is saying that the problem they have with their representative is that they are not seeing them, Mr. Perkins, after the election. That's the end of the people until when the next election come around. And I always say to the people out there, me say, remember you have a whole 5 years ahead of you after the election. And you don't need somebody who just going to come around during the election campaign and then totally abandon you after.
Well, sir, totally abandon. What does that mean? You elect an MP, right? What you want that MP to do really is not to be coming around sort of dipping his finger into your pot.
Yes, sir.
Right? And having little food with you and having a drink and chat a little bit and so on. Right? What you want that MP to do is to go to Parliament and to help to frame or to be in the government and to frame policies which are going to be beneficial to you and your community.
Exactly, Mr.
Right?
Exactly.
And to the country.
Exactly, Mr.
Right?
That is what I want.
So, I mean, I wouldn't argue that, I heard Maxine Henry Wilson talking on the radio this morning about the conflict in terms of time, between her responsibilities as a minister and her responsibilities as an MP. And I would argue that that if she should err on the side of the ministry, give more time to the ministry, and help to develop an education program that is going to be useful to her citizens, her members, of her constituency. Now, if Mrs. Maxine Henry Wilson could be shown to have done that, not just spend the time in the ministry, but develop a worthwhile education system, right? Then I would say that, she should be supported, right? Even though she hasn't seen as her constituents as much as she might have, right? But the question is, has she done that? She may have spent more time in the ministry, but has she really produced the educational system that would be beneficial to her constituents? And other government policies, economic policies, because as a minister she shares the responsibility for all of that, right? The question is whether the government of Jamaica over the last 18 years has led Jamaica in a way that is towards development and prosperity rather than towards stagnation and poverty. Okay?
Yes. Mr. Perkins, it was really nice having this discussion.
Lovely talking to you too.
You take care.
All the best to you. Okay. We have some email for you.
Yes, Mr. Perkins. Dear Mutty, I just caught a short part of your conversation with Odley Shaw. I thought I heard him say that the importation of crude oil into Jamaica in 2006 was 7,080 barrels. That figure is incorrect.
I don't remember him saying that.
It is 7 million barrels.
Uh-huh.
It is true that the government lists it. The government lists it at 7,000. But at the top of the column is thousands. That means that Trafigura Vihir's profit would have been 5 to 12, or $4.88 multiplied by 7,080,000 would be 34,000 US, 34 million US, 550,000.
34
million US, 550,000.
Well, I don't know. First of all, I don't know about the, but he's confusing issues, that person. Mr. Shaw and I were talking about Trafigura lifting Nigerian crude. And the Nigerian crude is not imported into Jamaica, right? It's sold elsewhere on the world market.
Mr. Perkins, good afternoon. I listen to you online while at work every day, and I truly enjoy listening to your program. I'm 28 years old and living in Canada, where I was born and raised. I'm married to a Jamaican, and my background is Jamaican. Mr. Perkins, I can tell you that it is not a bonus being a Jamaican or of Jamaican heritage over here in Canada. All Canadians know over here is terrible about Jamaica, and that basically if you want to lose your life and your family, or as they say over here, get your hand chopped off for your watch, then visit Jamaica. Honestly, Mr. Perkins, I have to admit that there have been many times where we would be talking to people or filling out forms, and I'm telling my husband, don't bother to tell them where you come from. And there have been situations when I hold back that information about my background too. You know why, Mr. Perkins? It's a reputation. And people naturally judge you from what they hear and what they see on the news, or from others, or from what they read. It doesn't help that things are over there are so bad. People like you must not broadcast them, because you get a response over here that says, oh, listen to that island where blood flows increasingly. Mr. Perkins, I love going home to visit my family and soak up that beautiful weather, but when I go, I'm in and out. I don't like to stay too long. Not because it's too hot, but because I'm frightened of the crime. And unfortunately, the crime that is so abundant over there overshadows the good and the beautiful ingredients that make Jamaica what it is. May I correct myself? Overshadows is too mild. It is covered. Additional to that, what makes me so upset is that mainstream Canadians have picked up on it too. Mr. Perkins, it's like when you're having a terrible problem in your family and you find out that a stranger knows more about it than you do. Being a Jamaican is hard, even abroad, so I can imagine how it is being a Jamaican in Jamaica. God bless. Lee.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back shortly.
Quality, affordable gypsum board, green board, Duroc board, steel stud, and more. Value for your money. Available at All Island Gypsum Distributors Limited. The time for the #1 construction supply store, All Island Gypsum Distributors Limited, 960-7381 is
1:15.
Homeowners, building contractors, visit Epic Hardware for the lowest prices on steam shower houses, shower enclosures, lumber, electrical and plumbing fixtures, and so much more. Epic Hardware, 142 Muirhead Avenue, Denbigh, Maypen. Telephone 986-6170. Epic Hardware, for people who build.
The following is a paid announcement by the JLP.
While Jamaica's roads fall apart, Bobby Pickersgill gloats that there are no potholes in PNP Roger Clark's constituency.
No pothole. And 9 years now we have beg PNP government come fix up the road them. And walk we have to walk every morning. Can't no taxi and drive up here. And good people live up here. We're tired now. Time for a change.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the JLP.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. You know that letter, the contents of that letter are to be taken very seriously. Jamaica is letting down not only its own people here at home, its people abroad, in the diaspora. It is letting down black people, particularly in places like the United States, who have suffered for centuries from racism. Right? Our performance, ours and countries like Haiti, right? Our performance is fortifying the notion of the inferiority of black people. If we had achieved what Singapore has achieved, what a difference it would have made to the world's thinking on the subject of race and color. Who would have been able to say that black people are inferior and believe it? If you had had a country like Jamaica performing in the way that Singapore is performing. Right? We are letting down our own people the world over, and we are letting down black people because we are identified with black people. It is a shame.
Hello, Mutty. I'm a Jamaican residing abroad, but all my interest is in Jamaica. When will the people of Jamaica have a say in their destiny?
In their what?
Destiny. It seems like only the politicians are allowed to speak for the masses of the country. When are they going to tell the politicians that we hired them to work for us and not the other way around? I'm so concerned. When was the last time we had a referendum on matters of concern in Jamaica? I doubt if most of our people know anything about a referendum. Mr. Perkins, can't you get them to start showing the politicians that they must walk good and serve us better? Or we will get rid of them and find some good people that will lead us out of our present situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should have been doing that long ago.
Mr. Perkins, Africa is doing something about corruption. Even while Mr. Obasanjo is busy auctioning off Nigerian oil contracts before he leaves office later this month or early next month, several governments in Africa have lifted the impunity granted by their constitutions, which put former leaders beyond the reach of the law for decades. This lifting of the impunity is the key to bring former public officials and politicians to justice. Politicians who abuse the public trust financially and citizens' abuse. If the public officials or politicians break the law, the only place they are safe with the lifting of the impunity is in their grave. Last week, the former Zambian president, Mr. Frederick Chilea, I don't think that's his name, but that is what is here, has been found guilty in the London High Court on a charge of embezzlement. The Zambian government has seized several of Mr. Chiluba's properties and vehicles worth millions. He was found guilty of trashing away, I think he means stashing away, $45 million US of public money. Yet his salary during his term of office from 1991 to 2002 did not exceed $100,000 per year. In Zambia, 75% of the population live on less than $1 US a day. Meanwhile, the South African former deputy president, Mr. Jacob Zuma, has had a court order issued allowing the director of prosecution to expand an investigation that Mr. Zuma accepted nearly $200,000 in bribe from a French arms company. It seems that Africa has started to investigate public officials, even if they are out of government. Mr. Perkins, what do you think of the possibilities of that ever happening here?
I don't know. Ask Mr. I don't know.
Mr. Perkins, I was very surprised by Mr. Dr. Peter Phillips' statement that the media had neglected to inform the public about the achievements of the PNP over the last 18 years, and that is why the people don't know about it.
Then why doesn't Dr. Peter Phillips inform them?
Mr. Perkins, I am sure if he got his pollster, Mr. Bill Johnson, to do a poll concerning the media, they may have some very interesting results, because the impression that I get myself, and I know from the people that I speak to, the media by and large has been very pro-government and very obviously anti-JLP. I can quote you instance by instance. What Mr. Phillips has tried to cover over is the clear spin by the PNP and their friends in the media to separate the present Prime Minister from the last 18 years.
Yes, that is what is happening.
So that they are trying to encourage a vote for Portia, not a vote for the PNP.
Yes.
And the polls reflect this. Mm-hmm. That is the trick, Mr. Perkins.
Yes. Absolutely right.
Dear Mr. Perkins, sorry.
Yes, that's very good. I think he's right, or she's right, whichever.
Hello, Mr. Perkins. I listen to your program daily on the internet. I just want to clarify that statement from that gentleman about poverty in Britain. As a Jamaican in the UK for over 35 years, there is poverty over here in England, but it is not confined to black people. It is not a color question. There is black people who are poor and poor white people. In the case of health, all citizens have access to free health care. If you are not British, you have to pay. Or if you are working, you buy your drugs. I am a student from Jamaica, and I have access to... My son is a student from Jamaica, and I have, on his behalf, access to the health system and got exemption from paying certain taxes on his behalf. So that is not true, what that caller was saying. Thanks.
Good.
Mutty says this email, I think I found a way to make some money. I'm going to start a catalogue of stupid statements made by persons in the public domain. I'm sure that they'll soon be at the level to submit to the Guinness Book of Records. I will start with Betty Ann Blaine's position of do not vote for the reason she gave. Then there's a question of that gentleman saying character is more important than intelligence. Next is Miss Emily Crooks saying highlighting someone's behavior and calling them Jezebel is worse than when you call someone Satan and you are smiling when you say it. Then there's Sister P's statement of don't ask me, ask the PNP. Also, there's Mr. Pickersgill's statement that of that time of the month. Mutty, if you or your listeners remember others, please mention them on your program. And then at the end of the year, you could invite your listeners to vote on the most stupid of them all. With regards. And finally, Mutty, whose term has it been all these 18 years? I cannot understand the PNP's campaign. It is as if Sister B was just born. She had just sprung out of the sea and come up like Venus arising from a seashell. I do not understand why Jamaicans do not remember her in the 70s. I do not understand how they could have forgotten about the mobile garrisons, the companeros. Mr. Perkins, in 1993, the PNP said they put people first. I know that they were not referring to me or to poor people. Mr. Perkins, they better wheel and come back this time. They cannot separate Portia Simpson Miller from themselves for the last 18 years. She was there.
Yes, well, that is quite true. She's been a member of government since, of PNP government since the 1970s. That's quite true. She didn't just arrive last year when the party delegates chose her to be the Prime Minister. She has been there in the government all of the 18 years that this government has been in, and shares the responsibility for what government has done. Because if she didn't agree with it, she had the option of resigning and telling people why she had resigned. We take a break. We come back in a moment.
Get the security that comes from the COK Partner Plan. Your money is completely safe and you don't have to pay the banker. Conditions apply. COK for life. COK. Invest in your future today. And the time by COK is 1:30.
We know your Subaru like no one else does. Experienced technicians, genuine parts, state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. At KIG, we are the Subaru experts. Our mechanics are factory-trained and have direct online links to the manufacturer. Plus, we have the widest inventory of genuine Subaru parts. So, if you drive a Subaru, take it to the Subaru experts. KIG, we keep you driving.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award, on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, yes?
Mutty Delroy Chuck.
Oh, Mr. Chuck, good afternoon. How are you?
I just want to clear up two very brief points with you.
Uh-huh.
You know, this question of free education has been in the news.
Uh-huh.
And I just want your readers and perhaps yourself to look at the Gleaner today. I think it's the letter of the day. And also a letter in the Observer.
Uh-huh.
You know, trying to propagandize that it was the JLP that imposed cost sharing.
Yes.
Now, it is the same letter, Mutty, but in the Observer it is coming from Julian Robinson. And in the Gleaner it is coming from another person.
Is that so?
No, have a look at it. Now, I don't know if the Julian Robinson is the Deputy General Secretary of the PNP, but I know there's a Julian Robinson who is the Deputy General Secretary of the PNP. But I don't know if it is the same person being referred to in the Observer letter. But look at the two letters, Mutty, from two different persons. But
the identical letter?
Identical to the letter.
Oh, is that so?
But it is also reflects what was in Lambert Brown's column yesterday about cost sharing and free education. And it shows that there's a propaganda war that is going on within the PNP to tell the people that we can't put on free education. And in fact, we were the one who were against it. Now, what are really the facts, Mutty? You remember when Michael Manley announced free education?
Yes.
Edwin Allen crossed the floor and shook his hand.
Yes.
Since then, to the best of my recollection and belief, Mutty, the Labour Party had never been against it.
Yes.
And in fact, I mean, when the Labour Party built the 60 schools in the 60s, that was free education to all those junior secondary schools. In the 80s, Mutty, and this is where we need to get the facts right, the Jamaica Labour Party continued the policy of free secondary education. But I think it was around 86 or 87, a cess was imposed on university students.
Yes.
Now, do you recall, Mutty, Michael Manley at Halfway Tree saying, God judge me, but with one stroke of the pen, he's going to remove the cess from university education?
Yes.
Well, up to now it has not been done. So God is judging him still. But no, do you recall that, Mutty?
Yes, I remember that meeting at Halfway Tree.
And up to now, that cess has not been removed from 87 or 88. But the point, Mutty, which is to be noted, and I wish the PNP would just acknowledge this rather than keep telling the lies. It was P.J. Patterson administration that imposed the cost sharing in 92.
Yes.
And that is what we have been haggling and arguing over since then. Because we are saying the cost sharing is a real burden on the people of this country. And we said in 2002 that we would remove it. The PNP said that by 2005 they would. The two promises made by the People's National Party, Mutty, by Michael Manley and by P.J. Patterson, have not been satisfied. Now, you know, Mutty, you know the Bahamian government was recently removed.
Yes.
Do you know what the opposition campaigned on? A simple slogan, a matter of trust.
Yes.
a simple slogan, Mutty. And if you can't trust your leaders, then, you shouldn't vote for them. And when you see when you can't trust, in all sincerity, Mutty, if you can't trust, just like a husband and wife, that relationship will break up if one can't trust the other.
Yes.
And this has to be very similar to your political relations. If you can't trust your party, you should not vote for your party. And that is something which I believe, Mutty, that the Labour Party and the People's National Party, if they want the support of the people, they must tell the truth. And when they're wrong, they must acknowledge that they're wrong. And I'm saying, Mutty, in this respect to the free education, please stop it. Tell the people the truth. And stop lying, as Lambert Brown himself said at that meeting in Northwest Clarendon, trying to promote Richard Hassan. Now, I just wanted to clear that point of very simple, Mutty, because it's about time they get it right.
Yes.
The second point, Mutty, is what I consider to be a silly no-vote lobby from, saying that because things are so bad, the people of the country should not vote. No, I mean...
Is that still going on?
I don't know, Mutty.
I thought Mrs. Blaine had given that up.
But, I mean, this is showing an intellectual deficit. Because, Mutty, you have said, and I agree with you, that you must be able to choose between the good and the good. And in the same way, you must be able to choose...
between the good and the bad.
No, the good and the good, and between the bad and the bad. Because, you see, you're going to have situations, Mutty, where, you see two beautiful girls, say, for example, and you have to make a decision who is more beautiful than the other. And in the same way, you might have two ugly men, and you have to choose between who is less uglier than the other.
Yes, but what I said, Mr. Chuck, was the bad and the worst, the good and the better, the bad and the worst.
But Mutty, this is where the intellectual capacity of our people must be tested. Even if you think that the PNP or if you think that the Jamaica Labour Party is as bad as the PNP, there are many criteria on which you can make an assessment. You can say, well, I'm going for the PNP because, they're in power for long and therefore they should continue. Or you can say it's time for a change and therefore the JLP must be given a chance, which I don't think is a good basis. But you can also examine what policies the PNP has and what policies the JLP has, and to decide whether or not either party can implement them for the next 5 years. And on that basis, you make a decision whether or not you vote for the JLP or the PNP.
Well, I should have expected to hear you say, Mr. Chuck, that the PNP has been in office for 18 years. Judge whether you think that it is leading the country in the right direction.
Right.
And if not, then you must make a change, because...
Well, Mutty, one of the things I don't want to use your program for is a blatant, outright...
we are discussing...
Your program is a thinking program, and what I am urging your listeners to do is not just to swallow everything I say, but to think. To think. And make that... Use your thinking process to decide how you proceed.
Absolutely.
And that is what I'm encouraging them to do, Mutty. Not to say the PNP has been in power for 18 years. It's obvious they're in a wrong direction, and therefore you must get rid of them. I put the questions, examine what they've done for 18 years. Look at their policies that they are putting for the next 5 years and make a decision whether you support it.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not telling them that they should support it or they should not support it.
But also there's an issue of credibility.
Absolutely.
If one has had the opportunity for 18 years, then the question is, Dr. Davis is now coming to tell us that we must rescue the community from the criminals, right? Well, Dr. Davis has had... not quite 18 years, but about 14, huh?
Yes.
To do something about that.
But before that, he was an advisor?
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, the question is, if he hasn't been able to do it in 14 years, right, what reason is there for taking him seriously at this point when he tells us about taking the community away from the criminals?
But the best one...
He who left Parliament to in a budget debate, right? To go you know where.
I remember that very well, Mutty.
Okay.
All of a sudden, a message was brought to him, and you see him rushing outside.
Yes.
And did not return that day. No, but Mutty. But the worst one, as you mentioned that, the worst one is Peter Phillips now. Who has said that the youth of this country, these are the 18-year-old, you know.
Yes.
During which time the PNP has been in government, has been badly dealt with by the society.
Yes.
Now, this is a true confession.
Yes.
Because these young people, Mutty, who are now 18 and under, have only seen a PNP government. You get me?
Yes.
And these are the people that Peter Phillips is saying have not been given a proper moral compass in their lives.
Yes.
Right. But you know, Mutty, I just brought these 2 points to you. And just a final point before I go.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, and the people of this country must see Portia Simpson-Miller as a part of the PNP and not somebody separate from the PNP.
Yes.
What the PNP is trying to do now is to separate her from the disaster of the past 18 years.
Yes.
And you know, Mutty, I don't know if you saw the newspaper. I think it might have been Friday. In her constituency, the people don't have pipe water.
Yes.
And the people have to be getting truck water and the schools on a daily basis. How could that be, Mutty? I mean, I find it amazing. I mean, I would be astonished if there's anybody in any of my inner city community in Northeast St. Andrew who, at this moment, does not have access to pipe water. Because from I've been in there in the last 10 years, Mutty, I ensure that not only did the National Water Commission come in and connect up pipes, but where the people could not afford it, that there is a standpipe. So I don't know if I can do it. Why, as a minister, her community still doesn't have pipe water, Mutty? I think you need to find out how is this so?
Well, that's a bigger question in my view than the MP. You know?
No, Mutty, but I'm saying to you, as a member of Parliament, we had access to the Water Commission to come in and regularize all the payment of water. And those communities who have great difficulty, we arrange for a standpipe to be there.
Yes.
But what is more, Mutty, the schools, if you look in Friday's paper, you will see the report, have to be getting truck water before they can operate. Something is wrong.
Yes.
And this is the Prime Minister's constituency, Mutty. This is not saying a lot for her stewardship. Anyway, Mutty, just to clear up those 2 points.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to hear from you on them.
Okay.
You know, this program goes wherever the facts go.
Absolutely.
Right? And anybody else who wants to come on to say what the facts are and what they are properly reasoned.
You know, Mutty, we must get out of this propaganda war. Because, you know, in Northeast St. Andrew, you remember Richard Azan said 128 million was spent in Northeast St. Andrew, the most in any other constituency.
Yes.
Now, I have said on your program, I've written letters to the editor, and in fact, I'm awaiting the answers in Parliament as to who spent this 128 million. But you know that the PNP organization in Grandspen spread the propaganda that Chuck has the 128 million. Chuck spent the 128 million, and Chuck must account for the 128 million. This is a show. When you walk into the PNP areas, Mutty, they ask you, what you do with the 128 million? Right? And I have to be explaining to them if they will listen. I have nothing to do with the 128 million.
Yes.
In fact, I have a question to Parliament as to how it was spent. But this is how the People's National Party operate, Mutty. Misleading, propagandize, public relations, spin doctrine, and it is time the people of this country start to think, and as you say, go with the facts.
Absolutely.
All the best to you, Mutty.
Thank you very much. All the best to you. Okay, we take a break. We come back shortly.
Therese and surrounding areas. For Decra roofing tiles, top quality clay tiles, and more, call Quality Dealers.
Astrasan Products. Good Jamaica, greater value. The time by Astrasan Products is
2:01. Today's weather brief is brought to you by Manchester Co-op Credit Union, a steady partner in a changing world.
The Manchester Cooperative Credit Union 1977 Limited invites you to take advantage of their wide range of products and services. Get all your financial needs fulfilled through a safe and reliable partner in Mandeville, Christiana and Forest. Manchester Cooperative Credit Union, a steady partner in a changing world.
Now for today's weather brief. There is a surface trough across the island. This afternoon will be cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly over northern parishes. Tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to fair. Tomorrow expect scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Wednesday and Thursday look for mostly cloudy skies with scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms. The information for today's weather brief was supplied by the National Meteorological Service of Jamaica.
Today's weather brief was brought to you by Manchester Co-op Credit Union, a steady partner in a changing world.
Oliver. Paul, me can't stop and talk to you now. Me I got Wendy's go eat some of them brand new double melt burgers.
New double melt burgers?
Yes, man, the bacon Swiss double melt. Make with half pound of beef, bacon Swiss cheese, and a creamy peppercorn sauce. And the steakhouse double melt. Make the same but with sauteed onions and mushrooms.
But are they good?
Good. Them succulent and delicious. The only problem is we don't know which one to eat first.
The steakhouse and bacon Swiss double melt burgers at Wendy's in New Kingston and Ligony Plaza.
Lord, them succulent.
This segment of Business Online is brought to you by Scotia Life Insurance Company.
Good afternoon. I'm Orville Johnson from Today's Money Limited. Welcome to Business Online. The Jamaica Stock Exchange has suspended trading in the shares of Separate Limited until its financial reports have been submitted. The suspension comes into effect today as a result of the company's non-compliance with the stock exchange rules, which requires a company to submit their quarterly financial statements within 45 days of the end of the company's financial period. Jamaica's current account deficit worsened during the January 2007 by $128.3 million compared to a deficit of $102.3 million in January 2006. This was largely due to the expansions in the deficits on the merchandise trade and income accounts. The trade deficit reflected an increase of $34.6 million in imports, while there was a growth of $19.8 million in earnings from exports. The Jamaican currency lost 3 cents against the US dollar amid moderate broker demand. The dollar closed trading at an average of $68.17 Jamaican for each US dollar in the Cambia market. There was no Bank of Jamaica intervention. The JC index plunged by 545.97 points as a result of price declines in a number of large cap stocks. The market registered a negative advance to decline ratio, with 5 stocks advancing, 11 declining, and 10 trading firm. Market volume was a paltry 1.6 million units. Cable and Wireless was the volume leader, trading 476,000 units, followed by Bank of Nova Scotia Preference Share and the Gleaner Company. The day's main winners were Jamaica Pegasus up 9.8% to close at $11. Derek, if you need further information, you can call us at 927-7392 or 978-6262, or write to us at Today's Money Limited, 72 Hope Road, Kingston 6, or email us at info@todaysmoneylimited.com, or log on to our website for more business news at www.todaysmoneylimited.com. Join me again tomorrow for another edition of Business Online, another fine product from Today's Money Limited. I'm Orville Johnson, wishing you a pleasant afternoon.
The preceding segment of Business Online was brought to you by Scotia Life Insurance Company.
You know, Cliff, Jamaica is a very strange place.
Too strange.
In this country, the car one drives, the house one lives in, the kinds of clothes you wear, and even your cell phone is an indicator of how wealthy you are.
Wrong, though.
I would think so, because I can wear jeans, and I can wear a T-shirt, and I can be worth millions and millions of dollars.
Very true. Because the people in banking tell us that your net worth is your true state of wealth.
Whether your net worth is positive or negative, a Scotiamint policy will improve it for you. Open a Scotiamint policy, build your net worth, and watch your assets grow. Call 1-888-GO-SJLIC or visit your nearest Scotiabank branch for further details.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Yes, I'm still here, Mr. Perkins.
Huh?
I'm still here.
Very good. Thanks for holding on.
Okay. So it seems that you're saying, you know, that if and when the JLP wins the next elections, everything will be better for Jamaica and Jamaica.
Hold on a little bit. I am not in any position to say any such thing, sir.
But you think things will be better based on the performance of the JLP over the last two periods that they.
It seems to me, sir.
For.
Hold on a little bit. It seems to me that you have a government in office that has been in office for a long time, and things have not gone very well. The economy is stagnant. Crime is the worst that it has ever been in the history of this country, as far as I'm aware. The infrastructure is in a mess. And one could go on like this, for quite some time. So what are we going to do? Are we going to put that government back and say, go on doing what you have been doing and failing to do what you have been failing to do? Or do we look to an alternative? Now, I would expect that things will be better. But if they then turn out not to be better, then you have to try and find something else, right?
Yeah, but the something else at that point is going to be the PNP again.
Well, but at least what is the rational thing to do, right? If you have, I'm not here as an advocate of the Jamaica Labour Party.
I understand.
Right? I am here as an advocate of fact and rationality. Right? And I'm saying that if you have a choice, then you must make that choice and make it intelligently. And if somebody else had the opportunity for 18 years to do something, and is now coming to tell you that, it is time that you take back the community from the criminals, right? After 18 years?
Yeah, but Mutty, when the PNP was coming into power, when they started off, there were things wrong with the JLP's governance at the time.
Yes.
They were using, and that they used successfully to win the election. So you find that whichever one is in power, you're going to have problems.
Yes, but hold on a little bit. Hold on a little bit. What was it that was wrong? Hold on. What was it that was wrong with the JLP government or performance at the time that the PNP used to get itself into office?
I don't remember offhand. I can't point to one thing or another thing. But if things
well,
were
what I'm saying is things are in a pretty desperate situation in Jamaica today, right? This country owes more money. It's hedging up towards $1 trillion, and probably is more than that because of all the debt that has not been put on the books. Now, on that account, now it seems to me that something has to be done. The intelligent course is that something has to be done.
I agree.
Oh, good.
And I think
no, you cannot.
I think it's.
Eh?
No, I'm saying I think it was in light of the whole desperation of the situation, regardless of which party is in power or was in power, that led Bruce to start the NDM at that point in time. He was, advocating a totally different thing.
No, I don't know that is so.
But he was
not the desperation.
Advocating a lot of things. He wanted among some of the things that he wanted was to have reform, political reform. And
he was arguing in favor of constitutional change at the time.
Constitutional change, right? So is he saying that if and when he becomes the next prime minister, that he's going to of himself bring about that constitutional change?
He cannot of himself. No one in Jamaica can.
I mean, because he has to start the process.
No one in Jamaica can of himself bring about constitutional change. But we have some very immediate problems, right?
But you
hold on just a moment for me.
Lasco Cambio is conveniently located on your way up or on your way down from Halfway Tree. They're opened 8 a.m. daily. Visit Lasco Cambio for fast, reliable service. 29 Red Hills Road and now open in Pepin, 8 Gordon Town Road. The time by Lasco Cambio is 2:15.
Oliver.
Paul, me can't stop and talk to you now. Me I got Wendy's go eat some of them brand new double melt burgers.
New double melt burgers?
Yes, man, the bacon Swiss double melt. Make with half pound of beef, bacon Swiss cheese, and a creamy peppercorn sauce. And the steakhouse double melt. Make the same but with sauteed onions and mushrooms.
But are they good?
Good. Them succulent and delicious. The only problem is we don't know which one to eat first.
The steakhouse and bacon Swiss double melt burgers at Wendy's in New Kingston and Ligony Plaza.
Lord, them succulent.
You're listening to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's Talk Show. Our phone numbers are 968-4901, 968-4902, 968-4903. Our local toll-free line is 1-888-991-4072. Or you may call our international toll-free line, courtesy of the People's Telecom of Jamaica Limited, winners of the prestigious Jamaica Milestone Award, on 1-866-LINK-106. That's 1-866-5465-106. You can also log on and listen to Perkins Online live on the World Wide Web free at www.go-jamaica.com. Now back to Perkins Online on Power 106 FM.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online.
Yeah, I know it's going to be time for you to go, but I'm not sure. I don't want you to think.
Look here, sir. The people of this country cannot afford to just sit down and throw up their hands, right? They have to do something, and they have to try to be intelligent in the choice that they make, right?
But Mr. Perkins, the thing is that when the PNP is in power, the intelligent choice at some point is going to be the Labour Party. When the Labour Party is in power and things are not working right, the intelligent choice at that point will again go back to the PNP.
Well, precisely.
Are we babbling and weaving and back and forthing like that for a long time?
No, so what do you think we should have? A one-party government forever?
No, I'm not saying that.
Then what is your complaint with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
One-party government?
What?
What's the complaint with a one-party government?
No, with going from party to party, for changing parties. This is what has happened in America, in England, in Germany, in France, in wherever.
Yes, but as you said yourself a couple of minutes ago, that something must be wrong somewhere. Why Jamaica has not made the progress that it could have made.
Yes.
Or as a black community, it could have made.
Not as a black community could have made. As a community of any kind could have made.
Well, fine.
It happens to be black, and it happens that our performance has fortified the notion that black people are inferior.
Mm-hmm.
You think if we had done what Singapore has done,
right,
that it wouldn't have had an effect upon racism in a country like the United States?
I agree with you.
Oh, well, all right.
I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm saying is, would you agree that the political arrangement we have in Jamaica has contributed to the poor performance?
What political arrangement are you talking about?
I am of the opinion that the politicians in Jamaica, whether the PNP or Labour Party or whoever else, are not concerned about the country itself. They're more concerned about themselves and their friends and party supporters and so on.
Well,
they're not willing to sit down and come to some consensus and say, okay, listen, this is where we should be going. As you are saying a while ago, we want to make a framework, some kind of infrastructure.
I don't think that it is fair to judge the opposition by the performance of the government. If you're going to say that is true of both parties and to the same extent, then I'm going to ask you to look at to give me the evidence on which you proceed, because I don't mind what conclusion we reach, provided that we do so on the basis of fact and reason.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Yes, I agree with that. No, but my
yes.
My contention is that regardless of which party has been in power over the years, we have not made the strides economically or...
No, that's not true. In the 1960s, right? The economy grew at an average rate over the period of the 60s while the Labour Party was in office, of 6%. Annual 6%. Right? In the 1980s, towards the end of the 1980s, the Labour Party, the economy was growing in that region and above. Right? In fact, I believe in 1970, just the year before the Manley administration came to office in 1972, the economy grew somewhere in the region of 12%. So there was, and I remember that we were attracting into this country a lot of investment in manufacturing and that kind of thing. You remember that?
Yes.
You remember that there was some of that in the 1980s as well?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what has happened since then? So don't say that it's all, that is a propaganda line that is now being put out by the supporters of the PNP that are saying, well, look here, don't bother change anything because whatever you do, it's going to be the same.